Hello, welcome back, Steve's Retirement Corner. These two simple things helped me retire. And the kicker is, man, I learned them from Hank Aaron, a baseball player. Never even met the man. And I was always a bigger fan of daggone Willie Mays anyways. But starting. The importance of just starting something. And consistency of effort. I'd done a lot of little stuff to get to retirement, to help me get there. But these are probably the two things that were the biggest help to me. And a lot of that little stuff I did come directly from these two items right here. No particular order, but thing number one is I just started thinking about retirement. As simple as that. It's so simple it sounds stupid. But you'll be surprised at how many people don't even think about it. Never. Or either they wait till right there before they retire before they think about it. Hey man, I understand. Trust me, Doc. When you're having a hard time just making it to the end of the month, thinking about retirement is the last thing on your daggone mind. And whenever you start something new, I don't care what it is. I don't care whether you just learn how to swim or ride a bike think of the last job you were on when you first started that. And how kind of little nervous or scary it is or anxiety producing it can be. Man, the thing is though, once you start something, things change. And that little nervousness, scare, fear, or anxiety tends to fade away, and your daggone it's replaced by you doing the little things that make a difference. Like daggone getting rid of your debt. Paying attention to your daggone expenses and monthly budget. Trying to save a little bit more each year. You get busy doing that stuff, and once you see stuff coming together, that anxiety kind of fades away. It's a simple little daggone thing. It's nothing flashy, but it was a big help to me. To just start. Nothing gets finished if you don't get started with it. And just starting something. You think about starting to lose weight. That's hard to do, man. If it was easy, everybody'd be 100 pounds. It just takes a little bit of nerve to start something. And once you start, the wheels start turning, Doc, from there. How, I don't know. They just do. I guess because it's something you're always thinking about. I don't know. But that was a big thing for me, just to get started. And thing number two adds right on to that. The consistency of effort. I've told y'all before how hard it was for us to save $100. It seemed like we'd save $100 this month, and next month we'd have to go get it because something come up. So we'd have to start all over. When you're facing adversity and tough times, man, it's easy to quit and give up. But you gotta stay consistent with trying. Otherwise you'll never get nowhere. Eventually we got to a point where we got to that last month's 100 was still in there, and we was adding to it. So that's a big deal. And what got me thinking about it was the other night I seen something on TV about Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth. So naturally I thought about Hank Aaron being home run king like he was. And when I was a kid, I used to read a lot of books about them guys. Lou Gehrig, Hank Aaron, Johnny Unitas, Joe Namath, stuff like that. I enjoyed the snot out of that. And that's when something come back to me that I remember reading about Hank Aaron. When he first come up to the major leagues, when he got called up from the minor leagues. His first game was a spring training game. He went 0 for 5 in that game. 20 years later, he hit home run number 715 to pass Babe Ruth and become the home run king. If you think he didn't face some adversity, some challenges, some setbacks along the way, you'd be wrong, man. He was the last Negro League player to play for the major leagues. When he retired, he was the last one there. Think how many times you got to strike out in order to get 715 homers, and he ended up with more than that. He had a few, and it all come from that terrible start he had at 0-5 and his consistent effort to keep going back every day and every game to play. He kept giving himself a shot to make it. You know, I don't know that was his goal to hit all them home runs, but you know, as long as he kept giving himself a shot to make the team, you know, he had that opportunity to do that. It is amazing how much a couple of little simple things like that can lead to something great like that. And that's what's led, made it possible for me to retire. I've always remembered them two things. From a kid, I don't know, I was probably in my early teens maybe. And, I think those things helped a lot. Because from them things, man, I was able to start paying off my debt. That was one of the little steps I did. I was able to pay attention to my monthly budget. Once we had that under control, I was able to think about an emergency fund. And that consistency just built a habit to where if I didn't save $25 this week, I felt bad because it felt like a bill to me that I was supposed to pay every month. That $25 was supposed to go in there. If I didn't do it, then I felt bad about it. You're building them on little habits like that, and by the consistency and just starting, man, it just adds and builds more confidence to you. Or it did me. Heck, I don't know, man. They're simple little things, common sense things. But if you think about it, daggone retirement is a simple process. It's an extremely simple process. You live below your means, save, invest, the rest, and after 30 or 40 years, you kick back. It's when you put that into action that it gets hard. That's when it gets real hard, especially when you ain't got the money to save. But you got to make that effort. And the earlier you can do it, the better. How you can still do it right there at the last minute. But, it's so much easier the earlier you get started on that stuff. And I'm all about daggone ease of use. So, but I don't know. It come to me the other night when I was watching that little program about Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth. It reminded me of what I remember reading when I was a kid. But, sometimes the simplest thing is the best thing for somebody to do. It's easy to stay with. Even when you're faced with adversity like that. You got that little plan in your head, and it's easy to stay with it. It don't have to be no more complicated than that. I don't believe. The simple stuff worked for me anyways. How's that? Tells you what kind of fella I am. Y'all take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will talk with y'all later.